Hello, I'm here to have a cheery Primark Bold Street end on this busy rainy Thursday afternoon. Those I rightfully criticise: Ian Bain, MP for West Derby, Refugees Welcome, Dan the Diversity Man, Dan Corden, MP for Walton, Liam Thorpe, Political Editor of Liverpool Echo, Liam Robinson, Head of Liverpool City Council, OK, cheers, Head of Liverpool City Council, also a councillor for Kensington and Fairfield, and while I'm at it, Ricky Tomlinson. I believe Ricky Tomlinson is returning to Brookside as Bobby Grant. Brilliant, I can't wait to watch it. That's what you need to stick to, Mr. Tomlinson, and not get involved with refugees nonsense. Coach for refugees, few quid in the pocket, was it? Right, that's what you want to stick to, what you're good at. Don't get involved in all that nonsense, because it's not in our city's long-term best interest, right? The refugees welcome, few quid in the pocket or whatever, right? I look forward to watching the new Brookside. All the same, those I rightfully criticise to date remain silent. No matter how many videos I make, how many times I call them out, they remain silent. Yet they can see the change underway, like me and you can see it. They know what is happening, right? They're not in need of Spec-savers, right? They're not even in denial because they know what's happening. They're intellectually dishonest. That's what it is, right? They know exactly what is happening. They know long-term where this is going to take our city. They know what is happening. So it's not as if they're not aware of what's happening or they're not privy to information. I'm certainly not. They are. They know exactly what is happening. If me and you can see the change, then so can they, right? Yet they are remaining silent. They don't want to discuss the awful truth. They just want to pretend it'll go away, or people get fed up listening to Joe Owens. They'll roll over. I can't stop this now anyway, what can we do? And that's the end of it, and they can get away with this outrage being perpetrated against our city. But that's not going to happen, right? I speak to people on a daily basis and they tell me they are not happy with what is happening. They know what's happening. People can see what's happening. You want a taxi? Universal Scousers. Want your hair cut? Universal Scousers. Want a convenience store? Universal Scousers. Put some petrol in your car? Universal Scousers. Now, hey, want to go to the convenience store? Universal Scousers. Now, I'm not saying none of them are providing a service. Of course they do. But what are we going to be providing? Our Scouse fam, if this continues, we'll have nothing left. What's going to be there for our children and grandchildren? Crumbs at the table. Like I've said, no one is knocking any service they are providing for the community. No one is criticising anything like that. What is happening is there's too much. There is too much ownership and disownership of the Scouse fam. They are in the driving seat economically, right, in a lot of these essential services people need. Once again, I'm not saying they're not providing a service. I go to them myself. But what is going to happen long term if nothing, we don't own or possess anything? That's what I'm saying. We have to stop this now while we can. And hey, if you're working on taxis or in petrol stations or wherever else, good on you, right? I haven't got a problem with that. The problem is too many are coming in. Different ways, beliefs, values, standards incompatible with ours. And if we don't stop this, we're not going to be owning anything. They will well and truly be in the driving seat. And like I've said, This cannot be in our city's long-term best interest. How can it be? Especially the culture that doesn't want to assimilate, wants to dominate. Okay, sir. They most certainly, being in the driving seat, will never be in our city's long-term best interest or interest at all, right? So we must oppose further cultural change. We have to think of our children, our grandchildren, and all those amazing Scousers yet to be born, because if we don't, what is going to be left for them? A city centre unfamiliar, unfriendly, even hostile, minorities in their own schools, eating out of the hands of universal Scousers. Anything that we need, we have to go to them. Once again, no one's knocking any service they provide to any community. What I'm saying, we can't have it where they're running everything. They're completely, totally in the driving seat. That can't be in our city's long-term best interest. How can it be? Exactly, it's not and never will be. Look what's happened to these other places, right? Look now what is happening to our glorious city, our cherished city centre, Scouse schools, right? Look what is happening. There is a change underway that is not in our long-term best interest, not in our short-term best interest, to tell you the truth. So that's why I'm down here. And those, like I've said, are rightfully criticised. They're still remaining silent as if nothing's happening. If me and you can see the change, so can they, right? Of course they can see it. They work and at times live in London. They see it each time they're there. They'll be reminded that this is what Liverpool's going to look like soon if it's not stopped. So they can't play daft or stupid like they don't know. They do know, right? And that's what's shocking about this, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we must oppose what is happening. Come election time, find the candidate reliable, credible, opposed to further cultural change, and give them your vote. Short of that, ladies and gentlemen, our city will pass through our fingers into the hands of universal Scousers and everything that comes with it, right? We must oppose this. You've got to think of your children and your grandchildren, because once new arrivals are in the driving seat, they won't be thinking about our children or grandchildren. They'll have their own to think about. That's how it works. That's the real world, not the fantasy world. These politicians, well, there again, they're not in a fantasy world. They're intellectually dishonest. They're not even in denial. They know what's happening. As I've said, they're intellectually dishonest. That's what's shocking about this, ladies and gentlemen. Truly shocking. Remember, say no to cultural change. Yes to Scouse pride. Shout it out loud, Scouse and proud. Okay, thank you.